Hello guys, and we're here today with another Burning Abyss deck profile. Now I know I said I was going to be doing Prediction Princess Shaddolls, but then I found out that this card was released in Shining Victory, and so I decided that I'll wait until this card comes out because I do believe you can use this card with the Prediction Princesses. So we are not doing another Shaddol deck profile this week, we are doing Burning Abyss, and this deck of course is one of the bigger decks. This is specifically Phantom Knight Burning Abyss. I do not like running the high speed riders, and you guys will notice this as a theme, because they don't do well with milling. If you mill the high speed riders, they do absolutely nothing for you. They were a waste of a mill, and this deck mills. So unless you're gonna tell me that you plan on playing this deck and never activating this guy's effect, I'm gonna question why you run some cards that do absolutely nothing when milled. So I guess I'll just go right in. Burning Abyss, Blackluster Soldier. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. He is a great card out to Cosmos because of all these trap cards that can increase attack with Phantom Knight Sword and Phantom Knight Wings. Definitely makes him very strong, and just being able to attack twice or banish stuff, he's just an overall really good card. And then 2 Seal, 1 Graph because we have to do it like that, and then 1 Tour Guide because you have to do it like that. But we have 3 Fiendish Rhino now, or Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Do not Tour Guide this guy out. Do not. I cringe every time I see somebody summon Tour Guide and summon out Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Why do I call him Rush? I think that's the OCG name. Because Tour Guide can already get the monster you're going to be sending with Fiendish Rhino Warrior. So you can only use one of his effects per turn, or his effect once per turn. So it's like if you summon out him and then you send him to the graveyard, you're gonna be then sending Graph to summon out a monster. When if you summon Graph, you might have milled this guy. And that's the thing with this deck. Just like how I say with Squamata, don't send Squamata unless you have nothing better to send. This card, if you mill it, you can have it be whatever you want. Oh, your opponent has back row? Okay, now it's a Calcab. Oh, your opponent has a monster? Okay, now it's a Farfa. Oh, your opponent, you have a monster in your hand and you can continue your play and you've already used Seer and Graph. Alright, Libic. So, just Tour Guiding it out of the deck, unless you hit those cards, it's just gonna be one card, and so it's whatever you want it to be, and that's what makes this guy so strong. Is when it hits the graveyard, it's whatever you want this card to be, and so I just don't see the point of wasting him, summoning him out instead of trying to mill him. And also drawing into him can be really nice, because if you can summon out Burning Abyss monsters and summon out him, then you can summon out Phantom Knight monsters and not have to worry about them being destroyed. Okay, so 2 Calcap, 2 Libic, and then 2 Farfa, and 2 Skarm, and then 1 Rubik. That will be the rest of the Burning Abyss engine to bounce back row, to summon monsters from hand, and of course to banish stuff and to do our searching. For the Phantom Knight engine, we're running 2 Ragged Gloves, 2 Ancient Cloak, and 2 Silent Boots. I like this matchup because, I mean, you only really need to see one, and then use the another one to search. Like, that's pretty much all you need to do. You need to hit the one so that way you can summon them out, and then mill the other one so that way you can search. Use Ragged Glove to send another one of your trap cards to the graveyard. Use Ancient Cloak to add a Phantom Knight or this guy to the graveyard, or use this guy to search out one of the traps to your hand, specifically Fogblade, and I'll get on to why Fogblade is so good. And so that is it for the Phantom Knight engine. We have 2 Allures, and then 1 Card of Demise. Card of Demise is still very useful in this deck because it will trigger practically all the monsters in this deck, except for the Phantom Knights. Of course, they don't have effects in the grave per se, but and of course, Seer, Graph, and Libic. Libic can't activate as an effect for 2 reasons. 1, you can't special summon. 2, you have no cards in your hand. But I mean, if you get a Calcap, if you draw into a Farfa, or if you draw into your trap cards and they all go to the graveyard, that's great. Or you can just keep your trap cards and be like, hey, I'm going to set them because they're actually really good trap cards. And so it just gets to your deck, you get to activate some effects. You haven't activated Skarm that turn. Alright, well, you drew into Skarm, so now you get to use it. And of course, after you discard, you do not discard again. So that's really good. And then Foolish Barrier, aka Rhoda of the deck, it can do whatever you want. It's just another Fiendish Rhino Warrior. And then 2 Twin Twisters, because you do need to get rid of back row. And then Mass Chain second, and 2 Mass Chain second in this deck, because I actually like this card, and milling it can be very annoying. Of course, if you draw into both of them, they can clog, but is definitely a very strong card. Being able to make Dark Claw against pendulums. Okay, activate Perform Power Wizard, destroy my pendulums. Alright, I'm gonna make Dark Claw. You're gonna add 2 cards to your hand by banishing your pendulums, and then I'm gonna banish 1 card from your hand. Congratulations. So Dark Claw is just really strong in this format. Against Cosmos, being able to make him against Cosmos is great, because if you can tag over Dark Destroyer, now they can't float, nothing can float, and as long as you can protect the monster, protect either Dark Claw or like your BLS or your Dark Rebellion, you're great, you're great. And then Traveler and Fire Lake for the only 2 Burning Abyss trap cards. I like Fire Lake. I like Fire Lake a lot because, I mean, a lot of people have been telling me, oh, you make Beatrice and you make all these complicated plays. I make complicated plays using the Phantom Knight engines because they can allow me to make a better rank 3. It's like, Beatrice isn't that strong. She isn't strong as in a stun card. She's great for the Phantom Knight engine, because then it's like, okay, I'm going to send the trap card that I have not used this turn, or I'm going to send a Phantom Knight to the graveyard, so that way I have more that I can summon. So she's really good with that, but she's bad being a stun card, because the only thing she can do is Farfa or Calcap, not Libic, Calcap. And like, Farfa can't banish the Cosmo Machines, except for Slip Rider, and like, if they have March of the Monarchs, you can't banish anything, so it's just, like, it's good. I mean, Farfa can stop a play, he can do a lot of really annoying things, but she isn't the strongest. Fire Lake is overall, I feel, better than Beatrice. Like, if the only advantage she has is that she can make more aggressive plays with the Phantom Knight engine, well, this guy cannot. But if you're just going purely off of defensive, purely off of stun, I like Fire Lake a lot better than Beatrice, because it gets rid of 3 cards, and you don't practically lose anything, because you're going to be sending a Dante, you're going to be sending like a Seer or a Graph. And if you have both of these, it's even better, because then you can go Fire Lake and then Chain Traveler, and then summon out all the stuff and just do some crazy combos and add both of them back to your hand if you use 2 Dantes for the Fire Lake. So Fire Lake is strong. It's very strong, this format. Just don't let anybody tell you it isn't. Yes, of course you can't hit Cosmos. Of course if they have March. But I mean, you can hit back row still. You can hit March itself, and they have Return, and they have Dominion. And against Pendulums, it's even better, because they don't have any of those protection stuff. So Fire Lake is definitely a card that I say run at least one of. The only reason I'm not running that card at 2 is because I have a whole bunch of room for extra draw power and to make room for the Phantom Knight engine, because the Phantom Knight engine is amazing, surprisingly. Wings it gains 500 attack permanently, and then the first time that turn you activate it, it would be destroyed by battle by card effect. It is not. Fiendish Chain, also the monster equipped cannot be attacked and cannot attack itself. So it's Fiendish Chain, awesome. It's a searchable and Fiendish Chain from Silent Boot. You can banish them to search out this card. So that's really nice with going with the whole like, oh, I'm going to protect my stuff. Well, instead of necessarily protecting, you'll just be negating the card effect that activates. And that's kind of good, because I mean, if they summon BLS, like Wings nor Sword will protect you from BLS, but Phantom Knight Fogblade will. And then Phantom Knight Sword gains 800 attack, and if it would be destroyed, you can destroy that card instead. And yeah, so that's how you protect your monsters. You just use these trap cards, and hopefully you can have a monster that has an insane amount of attack, which isn't that difficult, because let's go into the deck profile where you will find out. So the extra deck, not the deck profile, the extra deck. Dark Claw, of course, banish everything that your opponent sends to the graveyard, and if your opponent adds a card from their deck to your hand, you can banish it, or banish one random card from there. And then Virgil is Virgil. 2 Beatrice, because she's still strong, and being able to make double doesn't hurt, and the whatnot. Just send a card from your deck to your graveyard, any card from your deck to your graveyard, so that can just result in some really nice combos. And if she leaves the field, you can summon out Virgil or your Dantes, or the Fusion Dante if you really wanted to. Dark Rebellion XZ Dragon, this guy is great. He is great. If you can get off his effect and putting him up to 35 or 4,500 attack, he can just run over everything, because as long as you have these cards, nothing's gonna stop him. He's just gonna rampage over everything. There was one duel that I just had against Cosmos it was beautiful. Like, I made Dark Rebellion. The guy tried to Dark Destroy him, but I used this card so he stayed at 3,500. He couldn't run over him. And then I made this guy, and I'll get on to this guy. And that's how I was able to win. Nightmare Shark attack directly for 2,000. Phantom Knight Break Sword. He can gain 1,000 attack, put him up to 3,000 if you XC summon him with Ragged Gloves. And he's a Scrap Iron Scarecrow. Target a card you control, target a card your opponent controls, and destroy both of them. And if he is destroyed, you can summon out 2 Phantom Knight monsters as level 4, so you can make Dark Rebellion. Do note though, if you've already summoned Dark Rebellion, you have nothing else you can summon. So if you use this effect, you're kind of screwed, because you can't XZ summon with those monsters, because they're level 4, and you don't have any rank 4s. And because they're not Burning Abyss monsters, they will destroy all your Burning Abyss monsters. A lot of people playing this guy over Alucard. Alucard is a dark monster, so he would get it, the 1,000 attack from Ragged Gloves. But this guy has stronger defense, and people like him. Not sure why. Giga Brilliant's another good way to be able to just get over Dark Destroyer. If you can just pump up a monster high enough and then use Giga Brilliant. Great. Levier is really strong. It's really good with Allure, because you want to allure your Phantom Knight monsters, because if you allure one of your Burning Abyss monsters and then summon them out with Levier, they'd be destroyed. But if you use Allure on one of your Burning Abyss on your Phantom Knight monsters, you can of course summon them out with Levier the Sea Dragon. And then Triple Dante is Triple Dante. You want to mill in this deck. You want to make Dante after Dante after Dante. Because if you go first and make 3 Dantes and use all 3 of their effects, you just milled 9 cards, you're probably going to have a decent grave. You're probably going to activate effects, so you've done even more deck thinning. So you probably went through maybe 12 cards in your deck. Maybe even more. And then F-Zero. F-Zero is good. I don't know if other people play him, but he's let me win games, specifically against Cosmos. Like, he is in here because of Cosmos, because he cannot be destroyed by battle. If he were to be destroyed, you can detach one XYZ material from him, such as your Dantes, so your Dantes will get effect. You take no damage when he attacks, and when he attacks, he takes control of the monster that he attacked until the end of the battle phase, and then you can attack with that monster if it's in attack position. So that's really strong. So you take your opponent's Cosmo Dark Destroyer. It does not target it, so you can take it, and then you can flip it around and attack your opponent with it, and as long as you can get over all of your other opponent's monsters, really good, really good, really good. And that is it for this deck. A lot of people ask me, why don't you run Horn of Heaven? Why don't you run Solemn Notice or Solemn Strike? Because those cards don't do anything to mill. They don't. And this deck mills. Like, yes, you want to be able to do specific plays, and Beatrice helps with sending specific cards to the graveyard that you want, but of course, Beatrice is not a Burning Abyss monster, so you cannot be very precise and make plays. You just can't go, oh, summon Beatrice and then send Graph. Hell, you can't even activate her effect the turn she's summoned. So, I don't like to run cards that it's great to draw into it. It's great to have Solemn Notice and have Horn of Heaven, but it doesn't do anything if I mill them, and I don't want to risk milling them and then not having a strong play, not being able to fill up my graveyard with the Phantom Knights or with the Burning Abyss that I need. Other cards that I would recommend running maybe is taking out like a Mass Chain Second and putting in Soul Charge. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.